Hey everybody, this is Robbie with Robbie's Reptiles. I just got back from Tinley, one of the biggest reptile shows in the country, and I have to say, I had such an amazing time being able to meet all my fans, being able to meet a lot of my customers as well, and meeting other breeders in the hobby. And I figured there's no better way to wrap that up than with a Gecko haul Tinley video. Now, much like every other breeder that probably goes there, I did not have any intentions of spending any money or buying any geckos, and I ended up getting 7 geckos shipped here today. Now, before we can even get to the geckos, I want to say huge thank you to Ship Your Reptiles. They made the process of getting geckos at Tinley and shipping to my home so simple and so easy. I couldn't thank them enough. And in fact, if you guys are ever going to be shipping, if you use code Robbie on their website, you can save $15 off your first order. So let's go ahead and get into the Tinley Gecko haul. We ended up getting quite a few different geckos. These are going to advance my projects for the next few years, and it's going to take it to a whole new level. This is from Starlight Geckos, of which I can't thank enough and I can't recommend enough. She's one of the best breeders that I've ever worked with. She makes some of the most impressive geckos on the market for incredible prices as well. And she's such a down-to-earth woman. I appreciate working with her so much, and I could not recommend her any more to you guys. This female right here is not a lily white. I repeat, she is not a lily white. So I confirmed with other breeders that this is in fact the snowflake gene or the snowflake trait. It comes in much later in age. They could even be an adult or get up to 25 grams, and the snowflaking won't come in until that last 25 to 35 grams, which is so interesting. And with a project like this, you have to keep them until they're 2, maybe even 3 years old before you can truly see how amazing they are. So this female is, I believe, 4 years old. She has amazing head structure. She is very proven, a very successful breeder, and I've seen her offspring as well, and she did come with lineage. This has to be my, I don't know if I can say my most impressive female now. She's definitely up there. She's at least tied. I do have a soft spot for Thalia and for Vanessa, but she is a top contender in a different morph. I think that she's incredible. She's going to be paired to Sigma Chad, my newest male that I got from Terra Lay. I really am trying to focus on very high white snowflaking projects in the near future for the next few years. There is white, but it also has hints of cream throughout, but her snowflaking is incredible. And so this is going to be a great female to start that project. Sorry for the light change. I can't really control how the sun is behaving today. I got a lot of geckos from Starlight at this show, so we're gonna go ahead and try to rapid fire the rest. Because I got so many, she did throw in an amazing deal on this juvenile right here. I think it's going to end up being a male, but the mother to this gecko is also an incredible snowflaking gecko. So I figured it was gonna be a good gecko to get so that I can watch it progress and see if it does end up completely covering up with all those white snowflakes, if it stays the same. It has a really impressive black base. So I figured even if it's a male, it would be a really good gecko to get, especially for the great deal that I got. Now this was an incredible gecko, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to have it. I can feel her getting ready to jump. Okay, she's crawling on my back now. When I saw this gecko, it was love at first sight. I had to get it. This is an identical twin to Thalia. She said it's hopefully a male, and if it is, that would be fantastic. But hey, if it ends up being a female, I'm not gonna complain either. I would love to have a male XXX Halloween to pair to Nikki and to Thalia. I can't emphasize how incredible this looks at such a young age with such incredible pattern. I loved the dashed pinstriping look. I think it's so underrated, especially with these extreme Halloweens with the XXX line or whatever it is. Not the best head structure, however, it's the pattern that you're after, and pairing to something like Thalia will fix that head structure in the offspring immediately. A side note on this guy, he has a white spot on his head, which is really interesting, and I wonder if eventually I might try to include him in the angel dust line that I've been working on. Nothing can be said for sure. It is in fact very interesting though, that I'm now just noticing. I spent about 30 minutes at the show at Starlight Gecko's table trying to decide one or the other until eventually I succumbed to my desires and I just went ahead and got both of them. They're too incredible to pass up, especially with all the projects that I have in mind, and I have amazing males that can go to both of them. So it would be it would be a sin not to, I'd be losing money not buying both of them, as I like to say. So we'll open this one first. This is an incredible black base, also high white or cream with the snowflake gene. Kind of a extreme Harlequin, but she's got incredible head structure as well. So again, this would also be paired to Sigma Chad. I figured I couldn't really go wrong with this. She doesn't have as much expression as this female with the snowflaking, but being a black base tricolor with high white, I figured that that would be incredible to pair to something like Sigma Chad because he is a triple X with high white or really high cream pattern. And I figured that the offspring are just gonna end up being a better version of both. It's hard to juggle both of these geckos right now. Man, she's a jumper. Really interesting cream pattern on her dorsal. She does have some really nice laterals as well. And her head structure is to die for, the size of a dollar coin, if that's what they're called. I really like the minimal pattern that she has on her legs, or how you can see more of the base color on her legs. So now I'm gonna have essentially 3 main females that are gonna go to Sigma Chad next season, and that's going to be Spider Wolf, this female, and the female that is jumping on the chair behind me. This girl is a lot more of your traditional tricolor, but I was in love with this girl because she would fit perfectly with my Chad line and Giga Chad line. With how much drip she has really good head structure as well, and just a great example of a tricolor extreme Harlequin. You can never go wrong with a female like this. She also does have a little bit of that snowflake in her. Not a ton, but she does have it. And right now she isn't up to weight, but we will be waiting until spring. Right now she's about 33 grams, I would say, but she, you know, from waiting so long over the weekend at Tinley and then being shipped here, a lot of them are a little bit underweight. So I'm gonna give them tons of food and water today, and then they'll perk right back up. Now we're on to the most unique ones that I got. So Gecko Logical was at the show, and he had a lot of cold fusion available. Now I've never seen cold fusion in person, so that was quite the treat. And I have to tell you, it's something you gotta see in person. They are literally blue. It is crazy. Now, cold fusion is a line bred trait. So it's a bunch of generations of hypo stacked on top of each other from a bunch of different lineages, all eventually crossed together with responsible line breeding and outcrossings to accentuate this incredible hypo pattern, and stacking so many different types of hypo, eventually creating this blue that we see. However, to see that blue, they do need to be fired down. So right now they're a bit fired up because they were in a dark place and shipped and moist. So they aren't fully fired down, but I got a pair for an incredible price and I couldn't pass it up. This male is not ready to breed yet, but he had really interesting pattern, and his base is such an interesting blue when he's at the right state of fired. Pretty much a standard pinstripe Harlequin. It's actually some nice white patterning. Because of that hypo trait, there is reduced melanin. It's more easily seen when fired down. But I chose him specifically because he had a more vertical patterning as opposed to the rest of the cold fusion males on the table. Had a lot more quad stripe or white wall. For me, as you guys know, I like that triple X. I like that extreme vertical patterning, that extreme Harlequin. So this male was the closest that I could find to that. And for the incredible price that I got him for, it was a no-brainer. And I ended up getting a really nice looking female along with him that is perfectly that triple X style patterning that I'm into. Hats off to Gecko Logical for being able to pull off this sort of line. I think it's an incredible look, and I'm excited to pair this to a lot of different things. Once this male's up to weight, I wouldn't mind pairing eventually to cappuccinos or even to monochrome to see how that affects what. Or even pairing to lily whites, or even some of my black based tricolors and triple X's. So I'm very excited to eventually grow this male up and the female and pair them to other projects. Like, I would love to see what happens when you try to make a cold fusion xanthic. I would love to see what happens when you try to make a cold fusion cappuccino cross. That's gonna be a couple years in the future, but that's one of the reasons why I had to make sure I got a pair, just to see what would happen when I outcross to different things. But that's gonna do it for today's video. Again, huge shout out to Ship Your Reptiles. And remember, you can use code Robbie to save $15 at checkout. So make sure to like, subscribe, and all that YouTube mumbo jumbo, and I'll see you guys in the next video.